Here's the lowdown. Between these three cases, the best waterproof one, well, is this blue case. It's the Catalyst waterproof, and it beats out the LifeProof Fre as well as the Ghostek Nautical. Why? Because at the end of the day, I can stomach using the Catalyst case on a day-to-day basis. I can't say the same for that for the other two products. The standout features of the Catalyst is the handling and the overall design. The bad thing about the case, well, is that it's a waterproof case. The Nautical is going to be the toughest, best looking case after a couple of drops, but the bad thing for that case is that, well, it's a waterproof case, and the LifeProof Fre is just bleh nowadays. The screen protector still makes your screen look like it's from 2012, and it's the most expensive case in this group. Now, despite my minor disdain for the case, it still might be worth getting. Oh, and the final bad thing on top of this bad thing Sunday is that it's a waterproof case. Now you might be thinking, gee, Aaron, do you have something against waterproof cases? Here's my dilemma. I don't think they're worth getting anymore. I used to love waterproof cases. In the next few minutes, I'm going to talk about the design of the cases, the functionality of the iPhone in the case, protection each case offers your iPhone, and after all that, I'm going to elaborate on why I think waterproof cases are kind of bleh.
Real usage, real reviews. MobileReviewsEh.ca.
Hey Monty, can you tell our viewers how many waterproof case reviews that we've done? I stopped counting after 42, and there's probably not a single YouTuber out there that's done more waterproof case reviews than I have over the years. Some people collect coins, other people collect dog toys, and apparently I collect waterproof cases. Alright, let's talk about the design of these cases. When it comes to design, waterproof cases are going to be larger than your average case. The extra protection comes at the expense of handling, but that shouldn't be a surprise. For a while, I was getting questions along the lines of, I want a case that's slim, tough, and waterproof. Now that question always makes me chuckle, especially the slim part, because it's like saying, I want healthy food that's salty and deep fried, or I want a shirt that's made from premium materials, fitted, but cheap. Some of those things just can't work together, and there's no such thing as a slim, tough waterproof case. There's smaller waterproof cases, but none of them will come even close to a normal slim case. Now, out of these three cases, the largest one is the Ghostek Nautical. It is a beast of a case, but it's designed in a way that the extra size doesn't degrade the handling of the iPhone too much. The slimmest case in this grouping is the Catalyst waterproof, but the LifeProof Fre comes close if you ignore its fat bottom. When it comes to build quality, I didn't have any issues with either case being flimsy, and all cases fit quite well together. The only case that I was worried about was the Catalyst waterproof, since my iPhone 5S popped out of the case during my review years ago. Funny how those memories kind of stick around even though it's like not the same product. I'm still going to talk about it. Sorry, Catalyst. All three cases won't slide around easily on a flat surface. The case that's going to slide around the least is going to be the Catalyst waterproof, as the edges and back of the case are covered in tackier rubber. When it comes to overall wear and tear, the Ghostek Nautical is going to show the least amount of damage over time. The Nautical has a matte back that's raised, so scratches won't be as noticeable, though a bad corner drop might deform part of the polycarbonate. The Catalyst has a clear back, which will scratch quite easily actually, and the rubber edge doesn't look too great after a couple of sidewalk drops. The Fre's back is still a sink for minor scratches, and the corners of the case will still show a bit of damage after a sidewalk drop. This is probably the 8th LifeProof case I've bought for a phone over the last few years, and the Fre versions generally have not changed that much. I'm still very bothered by the fact that I can easily scratch the back, and the screen protector still just sucks. The Fre was an amazing case 5 years ago, but you know, it kind of hasn't evolved with all the other cases, whereas other case manufacturers have made incremental improvement. I'll elaborate on that in a few minutes. When it comes to overall texture, I have to give the hat tip to the Catalyst waterproof. I love the mild rubber feel of the bumper, and I'm quite glad that they moved away from the hard polycarbonate when they first came out with the case years ago. The rubberized edges are also beneficial to the sound, which I'll cover in the functionality section. Between the Fre and the Nautical, I'd go with the Nautical, as the oversized corners make it easier to use my iPhone in one hand. Now, how do these cases handle when they're wet? The Catalyst comes out on top, not surprised, followed by the Nautical, and then the Fre. Relatively speaking, I was surprised at how slick the Fre felt during the water test that I did. I do remember using this case during the full review and being surprised at how grippy it felt, but relatively compared to these two other cases, it feels like almost a wet bar soap. Now, I do understand the mantra of if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but what's the mantra for lazy case manufacturer stops making notable improvements to their flagship product but still charges an arm and leg for the product? LifeProof Fre is $90, the Catalyst is $80, and the Nautical is a paltry $35. Alright, on to functionality. it comes to accessing my iPhone inside waterproof cases, I've become a little dead on the inside, we'll say, when it comes to which thing annoys me the most. In general, the performance of the iPhone is going to suffer a bit with any sort of waterproof case. The plastic screen protectors are going to make a mess out of the iPhone's OLED screen. The buttons are going to be tougher to use and the sound is going to be muted. These are all downers, but that's kind of the cost of protection. Now, I'm curious, out of all three things that I'm going to talk about, let me know which one's going to annoy you the most. Leave that in the comments section below. Again, I'm dead on the inside. They kind of annoy me almost equally. Now, between the three cases, the Catalyst actually mutes the sound the most, while the Nautical is the loudest. The sound of the iPhone in each case actually sounds louder than a naked iPhone, since the cases project sound through the back of the case as well, which means you'll always hear your iPhone if you have it on the right setting. That's handy. Now, when I talk about sound, I'm also talking about the call quality, and it's been very hard for me to say which one is better and which one is worse, because it also does depend on how you install your iPhone in your case. Did you squeeze all the air out of your case before making a phone call? Stuff like that makes a big difference. Again, the Catalyst is quieter, Ghostek Nautical is louder. All three cases offer a wrist strap attachment point, which is handy if you're planning on using your iPhone near water. However, out of the three cases, there is only one, the Catalyst, that I would seriously consider using during a water-based vacation. When it comes to using the buttons in your iPhone, the case that offers the best access is the Catalyst Waterproof, which is surprising because the buttons are tiny, but they are also the easiest to use. The rotary switch on the case is awesome. It's funny because I find myself using the rotary switch way more with the Catalyst Waterproof because I actually can't easily. Rotary switch on the Ghostek Nautical is much tougher to use and requires you to not cut your fingernails for a while, and there is nothing worse than LifeProof's lever switch. Between the Nautical and the Fre, my preference would still be for the Nautical, as the buttons are easier to use.
So when it comes to screen viewability of the iPhone in a waterproof case, it's actually kind of brutal, and it's kind of ironic, and I'm just about to run into a tree branch here. It's really ironic because these waterproof cases are meant to be used outside, and they suck the absolute quality of the iPhone's OLED screen. It just blows it to like almost zero. Monty. Now, I've noticed fewer distortions or artifacts with these waterproof cases that I'm showing you in the video. Mostly because I think the iPhone's OLED screen, because it's just that much brighter, I don't notice the speckling and the tiny dots that you would find on all these screen protectors. Now, with that being said, I've accepted the fact that waterproof cases will always suck the life out of the screen.
But I will say that the general usability of the iPhone screen in the newest iPhones is actually way better than they were for the old iPhones. Why? Because case manufacturers have had to take into account all the gestures that you do on these new iPhones. There's no home button anymore. The edges on the iPhone X cases are almost non-existent when compared to older models, which makes the iPhone less of a hassle to use on a daily basis. You don't feel the edge when you're swiping around. I didn't have any issues with accessing my port with any of the cases. The camera on the iPhone X performed normally, as each case had separate lenses for each camera and foam to prevent light leaking in the lens during flash photography. I will note that the Catalyst's flash opening is quite small and will reduce the flash along the edges of your photos. Now, earlier I said that the rubberized edges of the Catalyst were going to be beneficial to the sound of the iPhone. One of the problems with waterproof cases is that it acts like an echo chamber for the microphone during videos.
So I was really hoping to do this outside, but there's a truck that's just making a ginormous amount of noise. Hey, Monty. Right now I've got an iPhone in a Ghostek Nautical, and I am just lightly rubbing the edges of the case, and I bet you can definitely hear that scratching noise. So it's pretty prevalent, we'll say, with the Ghostek Nautical. So the iPhone now is in the LifeProof Fre, and it is just as scratchy. Like, doesn't that sound make you feel a little itchy? It kind of does, doesn't it? So I'm pretty sure this happens with every single person who does a vlog or some sort of review outside, is at the moment you start filming, something's going to turn on, somebody's going to turn on their truck, and they're going to just start working. Like, I don't know if, that's just life, but man, does it get annoying. This entire time that I've been talking, the Catalyst waterproof, I've been rubbing the sides of it, and you can probably hear the sides, but it's just not as prevalent. It's not as scratchy as the iPhones in the other two cases.
If you're finding my content useful, consider helping me out by getting your stuff through my Amazon links. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and you don't actually need to buy the thing that I'm linking to as long as you go to Amazon using that link. So it's going to say Apple iPhone in the search bar, and if you need to buy diapers, then all you have to do is just search for diapers, buy the diapers, and you'll be helping me out. Yay! So how about them drops? When it comes to protection, the LifeProof Fre is going to offer you average day-to-day protection. Now the average is 6.6 feet for both drops and water. Now 5 years ago, this would have been amazing. But now 6.6 feet of water and drop is like literally the bare minimum for waterproof cases. LifeProof Fre, from my perspective, is going to be like your day-to-day jacket. It's the thing that you're going to grab every single time you go out. It's going to work well 75% of the time, but there's the other 25% of the time where life actually happens, we'll say, and the LifeProof Fre isn't as proof for your life. If you want your device to be protected for the other 25% of your life, you'll have to go with the Catalyst or the Ghostek Nautical. When it comes to drop protection, the Catalyst Waterproof is going to offer the same level of drop protection as the LifeProof Fre, but from my perspective, the Catalyst is going to be tougher. Why? Because the case snaps together on the back of the case rather than in the middle. There's going to be a greater chance that your Fre is going to split apart than the Catalyst. Now, the Nautical is going to offer the most drop protection. Theoretically, Ghostek says the case will protect your iPhone between 10 to 12 feet of dropping. Now, the first case I tested didn't do that. The second one did. But in general, the bigger the case is, the more materials there are to absorb the shock. When it comes to water protection, the Catalyst Waterproof is the clear winner as it offers you 33 feet of water protection. That's a ridiculous amount of water protection for an average person who's not going to do anything with a air tank. Now, if I was going to hop on an airplane and go to Hawaii for some snorkeling, I'd definitely take the Catalyst Waterproof with me, between these three cases, that is. If swimming with your iPhone is in your near future, considering getting a floating wrist strap, as the iPhone does not float in any of these cases. It's gonna sink. So at the end of the day, Catalyst Waterproof is just the best case out of this grouping. If I was to extend and compare relatively to all the other cases I've used for the iPhone 8s, it's still going to be the best case if you need a bit of water protection. Now, the Nautical is an attractive product in terms of price. If you need something that can take a hit, but you don't want to pony up close to $100 for the other two cases, then you go with the Nautical. If you're a person who runs multiple cases for the device like a normal person does with socks, Nautical is going to be a decent addition as it won't break the bank, but you'll get a bit of water protection and a decent amount of drop protection. Now, the only reason why I go with the LifeProof Fre, despite the additional cost, is their warranty. LifeProof will pretty much replace the entire case if you pay for the shipping of the replacement product. So if you know you're going to go through cases like nobody's business, despite having the lowest core and being the most expensive, LifeProof Fre might be worth it. Might. So basically that's the comparison for all these waterproof cases. Now let's dig really into why I don't really like waterproof cases anymore, or have a great disdain for them.
So do you really need a waterproof case? And I guess that's a question that I've kind of been, I wouldn't say struggling with over the last couple of years, but I really ask myself that question every single time I review a case like the LifeProof Fre. And the only reason why I question it is because waterproof cases have gotten, it's a really noisy truck. Waterproof cases have gotten really great over the last few years, but the cases from like LifeProof as well as Ghostek, I don't know if they serve a purpose, really, because waterproof cases were great when the iPhone wasn't that water resistant. Now that Apple has made the iPhone IP67, which isn't waterproof, it's water resistant, not waterproof. There's a difference there. I don't know if you really need these cases anymore. You'd be better off getting a nice slim case like Catalyst makes. I forgot to put it on my iPhone. Catalyst makes the Catalyst Impact protection, which is a great slim case, which offers great drop protection. You've got an iPhone that's already water resistant, so you don't really need to worry about ruining your iPhone if you were to drop it in the toilet when you take it into the bathroom with you, which is kind of gross. Regardless, the only other time that I would use a waterproof case would be if I was going into the ocean. I've already talked about that. So if I was going, I'd probably go get a case from like HitCase or ProShot, something that you can mount to your chest as well as mount it to your car. Do a lot more things with your iPhone with that sort of product rather than, spending $90 on a case that's, well, like LifeProof. That's, it doesn't make any sense to me. And the thing that really, will say, puts me over the edge in not recommending waterproof cases is the fact that ever since Apple has gotten rid of the home button with the newest iPhones, you spend way less time jabbing your iPhone and a lot more time swiping and feeling up your iPhone. So, the waterproof cases really take away from that swiping rather than poking. So it just makes the iPhone that much worse to use inside the product. And, we're paying thousands of dollars for these stupid things now. A $100 case really shouldn't make it that much worse to use. That's just my 2 cents.
Now, with all that out of the way, there are some of you that would definitely benefit from the protection of a waterproof case. Anybody who works outdoors in the element would benefit from the protection of something like the Catalyst Waterproof. I'm just saying that there used to be this many reasons to get a waterproof case because the iPhone was pretty fragile in terms of water resistance and whatnot, and now those reasons are much smaller. So, you know, just don't default to buying a waterproof case because that's what you've had in the past. Now, kind of as a side note, as I'm thinking about this, I work out with a bunch of firefighters, and I don't think any of them actually have a waterproof case on their devices, which is kind of funny. So again, what is the most annoying aspect of the waterproof cases when it comes to using your iPhone in the case? Let me know in the comments section below, because again, I'm dead on the inside. If this is the first time you're watching one of my videos, I do encourage you to click subscribe. I produce content probably at least once a week across my different channels, because these videos are taking a long time to make, because I've been trying to make them better. Anyways, subscribe, click on the bell. It's important. That's kind of all I got. Thanks for watching. Talked about design, talked about functionality, protection, tell them why I don't like waterproof cases anymore. I think we're done. Go.